What if your fate had already been decided? What if the world told you that your only purpose was to bring about its end? Hellboy didn't ask to be summoned, didn't choose to carry a prophecy in his name, didn't want to wear the crown, or wield the blade, or end the world. And somewhere between monsters, missions, and moments of mercy, he made a different choice. Because fate may claim you, but it doesn't get the final word. This is the story of Hellboy, and the fight to become something more than what you were made for. Hellboy was summoned to end the world, but what stepped through the portal wasn't a monster. It was a boy. Small, red, with a stone hand too heavy to lift, the right hand of doom, a key forged in hellfire, not to open doors, but to unlock the apocalypse. Demons called him Anung Unrama, but a man named Dr. Trevor Brutenholm found him first, and instead of a crown, he gave him a name. Instead of a throne, he gave him a choice. Hellboy could have been the king of ruin. He could have claimed every prophecy written in his blood, but he chose pancakes. He chose cats. He chose to save the world, not destroy it. And that is where the fight begins. But choosing pancakes over the apocalypse, that's the easy part. The hard part is choosing it again and again, every single day. Because the world doesn't stop asking. Destiny doesn't take no for an answer. He was offered kingdoms, thrones, and fire to light the end of the world. But every time the world demanded he become a monster, Hellboy chose to walk the harder path. The one that asked him to resist, to reflect, to rewrite who he was meant to be. But here's what no one tells you about fighting fate. It doesn't fight fair. Walking away from fate may be the hardest thing Hellboy or anyone can do. In the wild hunt, he discovers a second legacy, not just the beast of the apocalypse, but the heir to King Arthur. 2 bloodlines, 2 destinies. He could have taken the throne, he could have drawn Excalibur, but didn't, because power was never the point. Hellboy didn't fight for worship or glory. He never used pain as an excuse to control others. He fought for the small things, a village, a child, a world that never quite loved him back. Because real strength doesn't come from ability to rule, it comes from the refusal to. And that's what makes Hellboy heroic. Not his power, but the restraint to never claim it. Because Hellboy never chose the role they wrote for him, not the destroyer, not the king. Because in a world obsessed with prophecy, power, and legacy, Hellboy shows us that restraint is rebellion, that real strength isn't measured by how much you control, but by what you're willing to let go. He saves the world not by fulfilling a prophecy, but by rejecting one. Because we live in a world that hands us scripts, tells us who to be, what to want, but Hellboy proves that destiny only wins if you stop choosing. Hellboy was made in fire, but he didn't become the weapon they forged. He became something better. Because you don't have to become what made you, you get to become what you believe in. So if the world ever hands you a crown you never asked for, walk away. So if you want to go deeper into what Hellboy teaches us about prophecy, identity, and the power of resistance, listen to the full episode, Why Hellboy Proves That Your Destiny Is in Your Hands, only on the Disassembled Heroes and Villains podcast. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay handsome.